I was confronted with the loss of someone in my family close to me, and it was really a shocking experience. I wanted to tell a different story and not talk about death the usual way, I would say, but really deal with death as a physical reality and that can be explained.
David Cage's vision is always one that is innovative and highly challenging. So each time we start out on a project, we see those giant mountains in front of us and think, oh my God, how are we going to do that?
It took about a year to write Beyond. It was really challenging a collaboration because David is really passionate about writing and he always wants to push the envelope.
You know, the concept is huge and there's, incredible action sequences and locations all over the world, but there's also this beautiful drama within.
One of the challenges of doing this is because the player participates in the scenario, the possibilities of where the story goes is fantastic.
We ended up with 2,000 pages document and we realized we had a very big project in our hands that would be very challenging to produce.
It was a journey, right? Writing Beyond was a journey by itself.
I like being around interesting people that are really innovators and are passionate about what they're doing. And I had that sense in how they approached me and what I saw in the design and how they were talking about how they wanted to shoot.
It was strange because it felt so foreign to me, because it sort of felt like jumping off a cliff a little bit. Maybe that's just what I did. I just sort of jumped, I guess.
It was exciting. It was exciting in the sense that it was unusual for me. Everything was so unusual.
I'm a true gamer. When I got the call that I was going to meet David, I was beside myself.
When a project is someone's baby and they put so much time and so much heart into it, you really see it. And this is such a developed story, and this is going to make you feel and have emotion and go through a journey. So it's something I really want to get into.
I think that's the other thing that's so exciting about this game is this female protagonist, not a female protagonist who's sorry guys, has big boobs and a tank top, and is running around with a gun. And I feel grateful that I can be involved with playing this female protagonist in this video game.
It was really important amount of pages to shoot. In films, usually they shoot about 2 to 3 minutes a day. We had to shoot above 20 minutes.
It's been shockingly emotional. You just don't stop. You just go and go and go and go. I've kind of really enjoyed that experience. It's been weirdly kind of freeing.
You walk by the performance capture space and it looks so tiny. And you look at that and you say, my God, all that stuff happened in that space today. When I say happened, it happened in your imagination and it happened in your intention. But it's a powerful feeling.
It's so amazing that this is what I'm getting to do. I can't sleep at night. I go home and I'm just so excited that I'm coming back tomorrow.
There's an aspect of motion capture that really skips to the chase and gets down to something very basic about performing.
Go back to bed.
With Anne and Willem, it's really like driving a Ferrari in a way. You need to be very precise as the pilot because whatever you ask the car to do, you will get it. But because they're so talented, they will give you something that will be fully consistent with the character and that will really bring something that you didn't think of.
The pleasure for me as an actor is not interpreting something. It really is serving someone's vision and then making it my vision. And David, is pretty inspiring.
David's awesome to work for. I don't think I realized when I signed up for it just how much of an incredible experience this was going to be as an actor. I mean, I really have nothing other than unbelievable respect for what he's doing, and just for whatever reason, totally just trust him, and just every day, just sort of go for it.
Both Anne and Willem came on set with a lot of respect for the project. They really wanted to do the best possible job they could just to serve the project and serve the vision, and I think it's going to make the game much better.
Every second of movement you see and beyond is motion capture, ranging from simple in-game motions, walking, turning, all the way to stunts, fights, full-person fights on train roofs, to performance capture, to full facial and body capture at the same time.
It's not your call, Aiden. I can do what I want.
It is unusual to go in and wear the suit and have these dots on your face, and it's interesting because you're kind of like limited in certain ways, but you're also way more free than when you shoot a movie. I mean, you could kind of do whatever you want.
The games we make at Quantic Dream are based in reality. Everything that actually happens in real life has to happen in our game, and the only practical way to get that is to capture the real thing. We have to rebuild the world out of cardboard and tape and foam. We have to make sure it matches what's in the game, and we have to make sure that we can actually capture with it, because there are limitations to motion capture.
So we have these very strange props that look really miserable, but they respect exactly the dimensions of the real set in 3D in the game, so all the contacts are fine.
We can't use a car door in motion capture because it's shiny and it's really heavy. We can't see through it, so we have to build the approximate of a car door, but it has to at least have some of the real properties of a car door, because just closing a cardboard doesn't play the same as a real car door.
You're in a car, and it's this ridiculous-looking thing made out of 2x4s with a, steering wheel.
I'm a guy that likes to, when I'm going through a casual environment, I like to have my hands in my pocket. Well, your performance capture suit doesn't have pockets. So we created these Velcro straps that became my pockets that I would have something to put my hands in.
It's like pure imagination. Not just the fact that you're, shooting a scene in a submarine.
Cool!
I was sure you'd love that.
Or you're getting briefed about this intense mission that you're about to go on in Somalia.
Jamal Sheikh Sharif.
Literally, it's like being a 7-year-old with your best friend and you're pretending that the world's gonna end and the bad guys are coming and we have to jump from couch to couch and avoid the lava.
I think that's also what makes it challenging, but also really incredible and like raw.
Everything becomes kind of bare and essential, but also it's sort of disturbing sometimes.
When you're eating in a scene and say we're eating pizza, it's like a little piece of triangle cardboard that, thank God, says pizza on it, or else I would not know what it is.
We built the helicopter where there is this very intense dialogue between Jodie and Clayton. So everything was on wheels and we were moving the helicopter.
Because I trusted you!
Performance capture, it's digital acting. The trickiest part of performance capture is the preparation. It's getting people ready to perform. Depending on how many actors you have, it takes a while to put the 90-plus markers on the face. They all have to be placed specifically for them to work right on the rig.
So you have 88 dots, these beads all over your face. Not only that, but you got all these hard ball-like Velcro things all over your body as well. It's gonna pose a little bit of a challenge. I mean,
All these little balls.
Oh, fuck! I got like 10 bruises in my arm.
Everything's very refined because they want to have a vocabulary to play with. So you try to be the material. You try to give them as much as you can.
In our game, we have dozens of hours of animation. Capturing everything demanded an enormous amount of focus of the team to shoot almost every day during 1 year, and then of course treating all this data, bringing it to the character in the game.
Jodie, where are you?
Turn back.
The game itself really requires emotion and subtlety, and I think there's no other way to capture all that than the way we're doing it. They rely on each other. We couldn't get this performance without performance capture, and it wouldn't be worth getting unless it was from these people. It's a really great mix of technology and talent.
Quantic Dream has always been about creating interactive experiences that have emotion at their core. It's about telling the story of characters and giving the player the possibility through their actions to change the way the story unfolds.
When I write my script, I have an idea of how I want the story to be played.
So we try to render David's idea into a game and see with him if it matches what he had in mind. In case it doesn't, we go back to the writing stage and keep working until the result perfectly matches David's vision.
What we try to do in Beyond is really an intuitive and immersive experience. So we created a very discreet user interface with only white dots on screen and very simple controls.
Jody, where are you?
We wanted to revisit the action system and go for something that would be more invisible and more intuitive to the player. We didn't want the interface to be a barrier. We wanted the player to focus on what he's doing on screen and not on how to do it.
Ideally, the player will forget that he has a controller in his hand and will just jump into the screen.
One of the major revolutions in Beyond is the way Jodie Holmes moves.
Depending on the context, depending on your emotional state, you see the character of Jodie moving differently, walking differently, looking around differently.
And most importantly, to give the player the feeling he's really in control of the character, he can do almost anything he wants to do.
You can talk to other people, interact with objects, and also run, jump, shoot, drive a motorcycle, or even ride a horse.
What was really challenging also is that the story goes on for 15 years of Jodie's life. When Jodie's a kid, for instance, you can do different things than when she's a teenager or an adult.
Giving this much animation to a character, it's really new. It has never been done to that extent, and it really makes the character come alive like never before.
We wanted to have these new mechanics with Aiden. I wanted to give this feeling of flying around and going through matter and through walls.
So we started making some research on how ghosts would move or even a fish would swim underwater.
We thought that using orbs is an interesting approach. It would give us this physicality that we need to interact with matter.
It became really something natural to assign them to the two analog sticks and have to play with them, to focus them, or on the opposite, to split them apart.
During the process of this production, we made what we call user tests.
You just watch people playing and you see where they succeed, where they fail.
If a player don't get it right, it's only our fault. So we work very hard to be able to correct it and give the best experience possible.
After each user test, it's meeting after meeting just to find a good solution to every single issue the player may have had.
I guess what we're looking for with the gameplay is really to find an interface that will allow you to play life. And we try to get closer and closer of the ideal interface where you don't think anymore, you just do it.
PlayStation